Long ago, the players of RuneScape gamed together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the corporeal beast attacked. This beast had a reputation for destruction and had a year-long reign of being unkillable in a solo encounter. But one fateful day, a boy determined to test himself. He faced the original corporeal beast in one-to-one combat. But this was no ordinary boy. This was the boy genius named Woox, and although he was only 13 years old at the time, Woox was able to break the game and change the world. While the nuances of Woox's childhood are a mystery, we know that he was born in Stockholm, Sweden in 1996. In an interview in 2011 with Dead Films, Woox explained that while he doesn't remember the exact year he began playing RuneScape, he does remember becoming a member in 2008. Thus, at the height of a game came the birth of one of the most prolific players in RuneScape history. Shortly after his entrance into the world of RuneScape, Woox began uploading videos to YouTube, with his first video coming out on the 19th of March in 2009, named Xanax Crossbow Maxing 57 hit. And on this day, in the words of a user named VYM, a legend was born. From the beginning of his career, Woox was on an auspicious trajectory for fame and success through his affinity for player versus player monster mechanics. Despite being only 13 years old, he was already displaying a level of PvM mechanics unmatched within the world of RuneScape. A variety of accomplishments followed that helped garner a worldwide fanbase. Thus, aligned with the coming-of-age stories from old myth and legend, Woox ventured into a life filled with slaying monsters and wooing the masses. Where did it all begin, you might be wondering? Well, it all started near the Graveyard of Shadows. But first, a word from our sponsor. When I'm not bowing to the statue of Woox, I like to have cool stuff. Fortunately, there's BeSpoke Post, which is a monthly membership club delivering a box of awesome top-shelf goods. Members of the club get a new high-quality product sent straight to their doorstep every month. Every box of awesome has around $70 worth of goods inside, but costs you only a fraction of the value. When you start, your preferences of items are configured by a few quick questions about what you like. Preview your box before it's shipped. You'll get a box of awesome assigned to you, and before it's shipped, you'll get a preview of what comes inside to decide if you'd like to, number 1, keep it, number 2, swap it for a different box, or number 3, skip the month entirely for no charge. You only pay for what you want. I picked Dwell, The Weekender, and Cocoon. The Weekender is a travel bag, and I'm definitely going to be using this during the holiday season. To get 20% off your first box of awesome, click the link in the description and enter KempQ20 at checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/KempQ20. And to anybody that becomes a member, thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you to BeSpoke Post for sponsoring the video. One of the earliest accolades of Woox was when he became the first person in the world to solo the corporeal beast. Woox demonstrated this extreme feat in a video titled First Successful Corp Solo Without Bug Abusing. This video gained immediate traction within the RuneScape community, and as of 2022, has just under 500,000 views. Players from all over the world flocked to witness the marvel that was Woox. To the untrained eye, killing Corp Beast solo may seem like a simple accomplishment. However, in relation to the player base of the time, fewer people had climbed Mount Everest. And Woox strategized his method at 13 years old. He demonstrated abilities that garnered him the label of a RuneScape prodigy. Surprisingly, Woox would later update his video description, revealing that he had solo killed the beast over 200 times. Woox would go on even further to kill the beast without any food or brews, effectively breaking the game as we knew it. This was insane to everybody, but this was just the first of dozens of awe-striking accomplishments. During these formative years, Woox developed and facilitated a mindset that made him one of the most successful PvM players in RuneScape, spending thousands of hours losing himself in the world of Gielinor. He killed Jad in 6 seconds, killed Bando's boss in bronze armor, soloed pest control, and killed Jad with 1 prayer point and no items. Yes, Woox was incredible at RuneScape, but above all else, he just loved to solve complex puzzles and enjoyed the challenge of defeating the monsters. Although, we wouldn't blame you if you thought otherwise, as he is known to display zero emotions on his face. But funnily enough, it is his deadpan style that adds to the entertainment of watching him achieve his accomplishments.
What would I do if I knew the world was gonna end in a month? Probably save it, I guess.
Considering his accomplishments and his personality, it's no wonder why Woox garnered such a high-quality reputation in the old days of RuneScape. However, the darkest day would soon come, the day that Woox quit. Unfortunately, due to personal issues with Jagex, Woox quit RuneScape in early 2011. Woox explained in an interview that his leaving was because he didn't want to play RuneScape when he couldn't trust the developers. He explained further that this opinion derived from Jagex promising free memberships to forum moderators, only to revoke their offerings later. This was also coupled with the overhaul RuneScape was facing, which resulted in a large portion of the player base leaving as they felt the game was no longer authentic to its original gameplay style. Woox's decision to quit the game caused an uproar in the community, as fans were devastated to hear that one of the game's best players had decided to leave. However, due to people's respect and admiration for Woox, they understood the decision. It was as early as 2011, when Woox was only 15 years old, he was already beginning to amass a reputation as one of the world's greatest RuneScape players. He was adored, with one fan stating, "Woox was born for PvM. Please don't leave us. We sincerely love your videos about killing monsters." And another said, "This has to be the saddest thing ever on RuneScape. Way sadder than removing the wildy. The greatest boss soloer of all time has been defeated." Woox admitted that he didn't see himself returning, and thus, when the world needed him most, he vanished. During Woox's hiatus from RuneScape, he began playing World of Warcraft to help pass the time. However, the allure of RuneScape can be challenging to neglect. Thus, a few months later, Woox would upload a new video on his channel titled Woox's Updated Tormented Demons Guide with Steel Titan. You might think that this short stint away might have hurt his reputation, but on the contrary, it would seem that the temporary leave of absence only bolstered his reputation. As the saying goes, distance makes the heart grow fonder, and that's precisely what happened with Woox's fanbase. One user stated, "So glad you are back, Woox, the best PvM video maker out there." Woox was back, and this time he was here to stay, as shortly after his return, the gaming world would be turned upside down with the release of Oldschool Runescape. The critical thing to understand is that Woox was a master of in-game mechanics. Regardless of which game he played, he was leaps and bounds ahead of the competition, which became increasingly evident over the coming years. Coinciding with his legendary return, Woox created a Twitch channel to demonstrate his abilities and engage with the community. Since then, Woox has gone on to achieve a plethora of accomplishments within the RuneScape PvM scene, with some of the most notable being the first solo kill of Nex in 2012. And then shortly after that, the Calfight King, Bandos, and then killed Corporeal Beast with nothing but an inventory full of potatoes in 2016. The man was unstoppable, and in the eyes of the RuneScape community, he was a god amongst men. However, while Woox was undoubtedly a prodigy, he was extremely hardworking, sometimes spending up to 50 hours on a single boss challenge. While he did have the smarts, his work ethic was also unrivaled, and this is ultimately what made him so successful within the PvM scene. Alongside his accomplishments, Woox also began gaining traction with his social media presence, achieving 10,000 Twitch followers in 2015 and over 1 million views in 2016. However, two events would propel Woox to the heights of glory we know today. In October 2016, Jagex put on what was known as the Dead Man Tournament. The tournament was pretty simple in practice. Players would get ready for battle while deadly fog would slowly surround them and force players to battle it out within a small designated area. Halfway through the tournament, however, Woox would find and develop a strategy to secure himself in history forever. He realized the fog only dealt 15 damage per tick, and he could unnote food at this NPC and heal essentially indefinitely, until he ran out of noted food. The result was that while everyone else was fighting to the death, Woox was munching down on some food in hiding. The funniest part of all this was that Woox wore an apron and a pink skirt, which only added to the absolute disrespect he was giving to the other players. Eventually, Woox won the competition, only to be disqualified shortly after for his unconventional strategy. This resulted in an uproar from the community, with them screaming the words "Woox Won." Thankfully, and especially if you've watched a few other videos on this channel, you know that a developer named Mod Ash gifted Woox $10,000 out of his own pocket as a token of goodwill. Fans worldwide exploded with delight and began spamming the chats with the words "Woox Won" repeatedly, once again solidifying Woox's presence as a game changer and, of course, game breaker. It was here that all of Woox's skills and experience culminated into a single moment of excellence. If there were players who doubted him before this event, they would be remiss in accepting this as anything but pure genius. But he hadn't yet achieved the god status within the larger community. Nope, that would come shortly after. At this point, Woox was already well known within the RuneScape community as one of the most competent players. Woox was still ahead of the game in many ways, especially regarding game knowledge. This would later be exemplified when he became the world's first person to complete the Inferno and receive the Infernal Cape in June 2017. Once again, fans worldwide became overjoyed as they watch a master at work. As a testament to this challenge's difficulty, Jagex offered a lifetime membership, a free round trip to RuneFest, and a life-size replica of the Infernal Cape. When Woox defeated the Inferno, a total of 35,000 people were watching the stream. And whether they realized it or not, they were watching history unfold before their eyes. The phrase Woox Won was further cemented into the community lore of RuneScape. Another accomplishment that helped truly solidify his status as one of the best RuneScape players of all time was when he was the first to solo the Theater of Blood. This is the second of 3 raids in Oldschool Runescape. When it was released, the raid was touted by Jagex to be impossible to be complete solo, and many players believed them. However, despite the claims of the company, a small contingent of players had faith that Woox would eventually prove the world wrong once again. In fact, we can see 2 Reddit users discussing the idea of someone soloing the raid, with one stating, "I'm going to say it now. Yes, it looks impossible right now, but I think players like Woox will find a way." And just as this user predicted, on the 4th of September 2018, Woox became the first player in history to solo the Theater of Blood raid, and once again proved that he was worthy of the title Gamebreaker. Without a doubt, Woox holds an innate talent for problem solving. This has not only been exemplified by his long list of seemingly impossible accomplishments, but also the recent Crack the Clue event. This will be the 3rd event which involves a variety of extremely difficult clue seeker activities. However, this time, Jagex has decided to sponsor Woox as the official game master to create the event. In a video posted on the 23rd of September, Woox explains how this time, things are going to be difficult as he's pulling out all the stops to make this one the hardest Crack the Clue event yet. Fans are torn between being happy for Woox while also being terrified at the same time. One user commented on the video stating, "Woox helping create this Crack the Clue event is amazing, but also terrifying, since I cannot imagine how difficult this one will be if Woox is behind the treasure hunt." Woox's fans know firsthand his capabilities and await to see what the Game Master has in store for this iteration of the Crack the Clue event. Alongside his instinctive abilities to problem solve, Woox has also displayed a considerable amount of will and effort over the years, having spent thousands of hours on the game since he was 13. As a result of his time in the game, Woox has developed an obscene amount of in-game knowledge and mechanical skill. On top of this, he also works as a software engineer in Sweden and thus understands the technical underpinning of a game such as RuneScape on a more intimate level. With all this culminating into just one man, it's no wonder why Woox has been so successful in his abilities over the years. He is genuinely a one-of-a-kind player who was able to break the game on many occasions. While most developers set out to challenge gamers, Woox has subverted expectations and has now begun challenging the developers. No matter what they throw at Woox, he manages to overcome the odds every single time, which is precisely why when things look impossibly difficult, players look to Woox to save the day. As of 2022, Woox plays when a seasonal game mode comes out, or when a new PVM challenge gets added to the game. After all, he does have lifetime membership, so he can log in whenever he likes. When the world needs him most, will Woox stand by our side, or will he fade into myth and legend as one of the best RuneScape players of all time? Only time will tell.